Hello everyone, a very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to the AILET 2022 Verbal Reasoning Marathon. As the name suggests, what are we going to do in today's session? We're going to solve questions from previously asked topics in reasoning. I hope all of you can see me and hear me clearly. If yes, let me know. Good afternoon, Tanya. Good afternoon, Nityank. I'm sorry. All right, where are the others? Quickly. You can see me, you can hear me. Yes. Good afternoon, Sneh. All right. So, as people are joining in, we'll just quickly talk about what we expect. All right. Nityank, I'm also taking a reasoning session for law students after a long time. So yeah, I'm happy to be taking this session and I hope you'll find it useful. The content team has put together a fantastic set of questions and therefore I think we are in for a good 1.5 hours of solid critical reasoning and verbal reasoning questions. All right, now as you know, AILET has always, unlike CLAT, AILET has always focused a lot on reasoning. From 83, 50, 71. In 2021, the paragraph based questions came down, but the statement. So, in verbal reasoning, you get two types of questions. We'll talk about that later. In that, AILET has always given a lot of questions on reasoning, and the problem with AILET is it hasn't been very predictable. There have been so many variations in the question pattern that we are not sure what they're going to give when. Now, last year, paragraph based questions were fewer, statement based questions were more. All right. And this year, they said from 35, they've increased the number of reasoning questions to 70. And so we do not know. Shiv, the best thing to do is prepare for everything. Prepare for analytical reasoning, legal reasoning as well. So they have called it the reasoning section. Whether that reasoning means verbal, analytical, legal, we don't know. So assume there would be questions on all the topics, but taking past year questions into account, remember to stress more on verbal reasoning and critical reasoning. I think your teachers have done a great job in doing that. We will cover the most important topics of all that have been asked in the past few years. Satvik, I think my voice is low only for you or for everybody? Is it low for only me or only for you, for everybody? Can you hear me? Many of them said that they could hear me clearly. So I'm assuming that my voice is okay. Quickly, let's start the session. Let me know if everyone is okay. Speaker ka volume is on the highest, I think. I hope somebody in the tech team is hearing in and will do that. All right. Just send a message to them. All right, let's start. So, in critical reasoning, they're setting it, guys. Give me 2 minutes. I am speaking loudly, but my tech team is, many of you are saying it's fine. So, I'm very confused. You are acting like AILET question setters. AILET question setters are very famous for their ambiguity, both in grammar, in grammar and in reasoning. Now let's just go back to the slide and then we'll see. Let me put this on complete slide. Yes, yeah. All right, we'll just look at what are the topics all right, okay, let's start. These are the topics we will be covering today. As you know, verbal reasoning questions can be paragraph based, can be statement based. All right. Now, paragraph based questions, we will be solving the most important type. There are many types of paragraph based questions, but among paragraph based questions, there are many other not very important questions that are asked. So we will be covering the paragraph based questions. CLAT makes mistakes. AILET gives ambiguities deliberately. Nityang, that's the difference. CLAT have mistakes in the questions, but this time there haven't been many. At least in English and reasoning, they were debatable questions, but not enough for us to raise a complaint about them. Right? So let's focus on what we are going to do. I'm going to talk about strengthening and weakening options, because strengthening and weakening conclusions, arguments, conclusion and inference questions, assumption based questions. These are the three main points, most frequently asked questions. There are other types that they can ask as well. Main point, summary of the main point, complete the argument, paradox, fallacy. We cannot cover all of them in one session. Right? Okay, thank you, Nityang. Second one, we're going to look at statement based questions, and we're going to look at assumptions, conclusions, analogies, and strong and weak arguments. All of them debatable, but we'll find a way to answer these questions quickly and accurately. All right. Question 1. What do you mean by conclusion and inference? What's the difference? Remember, there is a technical difference, and inference is an unstated conclusion. Conclusion is given in the argument, but in aptitude tests, especially in CLAT and AILET exams, there is no difference between the two. They can either use the word inference or the word conclusion for a conclusion. And what is the rule? Generally, inference is not. So let's say I give you an argument and I leave out the inference, the conclusion, and I ask you what, and you draw your own conclusions from it. That is called an inference. But as I said, CLAT and AILET and any aptitude test, even CAT, even GMAT, in critical reasoning, they use these words interchangeably. Both have to be certain. Both have to be certain. Both have to be 100% correct based on the information given in the passage. No, definitely true is both conclusion and inference. Not likely to be true. In critical reasoning, there is no difference between these two. Understood? If it is a likely to be true statement, then they'll tell you it is likely to be true or not. All right? Okay. So remember, your answer options have to be based on what's given in the passage. It should not go beyond the passage. I know the definition, Tanya, but an inference is also based on facts given in the passage. A conclusion is also based on the facts given in the passage. There's no difference in CR between the word inference and conclusion. Technically, yes, you look at a dictionary, you ask anybody. If somebody asks me in an interview, okay, you're applying for CR, teacher, tell me what's the difference between an inference and a conclusion, I'll tell them the definition. But I know practically there's no difference. Start with the first one. Slightly tough, but there's only one easy solution to it. It looks tough, but it's not tough. People with serious health issues are always worried about their state of health and can never be cheerful or positive about anything. Their anxiety and unhappiness often makes their family and friends unhappy too. If their health is good, only this is the conclusion. This is the main statement that you have to be careful about. Where is my, oh, sorry. Okay. Why am I doing this? Okay, my pen tablet is working funny. Only if their health is good, it says, only if their health is good can they and their family and friends be happy. Option A, health is wealth. Is that a correct inference or not? Option A, health is wealth. Good, sounds good, but it cannot be the answer. Why is this happening? Wait, hold on. Let me go to my, it's showing the answer. That shouldn't happen. Yeah. Health is wealth is not the correct answer, because that's a general statement. Here he says people who have health problems are unhappy. They are unhappy, so their family and friends are unhappy. Only if they have good health, their friends and family can be happy. All right, there is the word wealth has not been given in the passage at all. Therefore, A is wrong. People who are happy are in good health. Is it B or is it C? People who have good health are definitely happy. Is it B or C? Okay, if definitely is not there, so you've learnt in logical reasoning only if X then Y means, if the statement says only if X then Y, what does it mean? Only if X happens, Y happens. Then when Y happens, you definitely know that X happens. And if X doesn't happen, then Y doesn't happen. So what is X here? X is only if their health is good. What will happen? They will be happy. So if they are happy, we can say that they are in good health. Therefore, the correct answer is B, not C. Clear? So what was the logic? What was the concept tested here? Deductive logic. If X then Y is totally different from only if X then Y. People could be unhappy due to other reasons, correct? But he says only if health is good can they be happy. So from the happiness you will say health is good. They can't be happy for any other reason. So Y leads to X. Got it? So this is just the concept of deductive logic that you learned in your very first lesson in verbal logic. Next one. This is from an AILET 2021 question. India's neighboring countries have seen a surge in their imports of the metal. This gold is then being carried across into India by smugglers. So there have been a surge in the imports of gold in India. The gold is carried across into India by India's neighboring countries have seen an increase in import of gold. The gold is then carried into India by smugglers. Why not D for the previous question? Okay guys, give me just 1 second. Okay, people who are not happy, they only told us that people who have health issues are not happy, Khushi. Based on that, we can't say people who are not happy. Alright, we don't know. There may be people who are not happy, could be not happy because of any other reasons. Alright, okay. Which do you think is a correct answer? Now you have to tell me why that. Not just what, but the why of the answer. Because if you've already worked this question out, we said we're going to do 21 and 20 because any exam that you take, the last 2 years question papers and questions are the most important questions. You should know it thoroughly. But have you understood the concept behind it? They are saying India's neighboring countries have a huge import or have seen a huge import of gold. But in India, this import is not happening legally. It's being smuggled into India. You just have to find a reason and deduce why this is happening. The tough restrictions on metal imports could be eased. This is just a suggestion. This is not an inference. India has a large current account deficit. We're not bothered about that. Value of the rupee, nothing in it tells us this. We have to draw our inference with regard to gold. What could be the reason why it's being smuggled in? In other countries, the import duty must be lower, which is why they are bringing it in legally in other countries. In India, maybe the import duties are much higher, so they are being smuggled in. Right? So that deduction is correct. All right, so that's a correct inference. All of you agree? All right. Next one. A new apparel store has been opened by a telecom company from which customers have very high expectations. All right, you just have a short sentence inferences. Last 2 years we have seen in AILET. It can be so it's a high risk high return strategy. If you understand your concepts correctly, you can answer these questions very easily. There is a new apparel store that has been opened by a telecom company. So let's say, no, Reliance anyway had both. Let's say Airtel started a new apparel company. So therefore this apparel company, clothes company started by the telecom company, customers have high expectations from it. Why? Apparel stores previously operated in the telecom industry only, then customers wouldn't have high expectations, or it doesn't tell us why customers have high expectations. Expansion is the best strategy for a competitive edge in the market. It didn't say it is expanding, it's just said it has opened a new store. Okay, and that's a very general statement about expansion, not related to the sentence at all. To be successful in an expansion, one needs to be a leader in the telecom industry. Tell me, what is wrong with C? What is wrong with C? I've seen your answers. I've seen the correct answer. I'm just helping you eliminate the other answers. But the question is, what is wrong with C? A leader in the telecom industry has opened a new apparel store. People have high expectations. So why can't you say, to be successful, one needs to be a leader in a telecom industry? No. It tries to make a rule of an event successful in an expansion of what? Here you have telecom industry opening an apparel industry. That's only one part. And the second part is customers having high expectations. You have to take both the facts together. All right. Okay. So D is the answer. Excellent. Well prepared. I have high expectations from all of you. So then you can have an argument. When people do well in the marathon 2 days before the exam, the teachers have we have high expectations from you anyway. But don't let that pressurize you. This is a fantastic question. All right. In visual media, it's possible to induce viewers to project their feelings onto characters on the screen. So you can make viewers project their feelings to the customers or to the characters who are on the screen. In one study, a camera shot of a girl's face was preceded, means before it. Precede means to come before it. What came before a shot of a girl's face? A camera shot of a girl's face was preceded by images of a still river. So first they showed the image of a still river, then they showed a girl's face. The audience thought that the girl's face registered contentment, absolute peace and satisfaction with her condition. When the same girl's face was preceded by images of a mighty and violent tsunami wave, the audience thought that the girl's face registered fear. Same picture, they showing it to you. Let's say I'm showing it to you. First, I'll show you a picture of a still river, of a calm river. Then I show you the girl's face. Next time, the same girl's face I'll show you, but after showing you the picture of a tsunami, a mighty and violent tsunami. The authors, the audience who saw the picture, the same picture, the first time they thought that the girl's face showed contentment. The second time they thought the girl's face registered fear. Understood the argument? Simple. Media news teams must be careful to avoid such manipulation of their viewers. So what's the author saying? That by doing this, by showing pictures and then showing people's faces, they are influencing us to read things into the expression, right? Now, generally I show the question, but here the question I did not show, which was the mistake. Generally in critical reasoning, you show the question first. You read the question first. What is the question asking us to do? Based on that, you read the passage. From next time, I'll do that. Question is asking which of the following is best supported by the information in the passage. Which of the following is best supported by the information in the passage? AILET 2020. The technique for manipulating audiences. Now, generally remember, this is where ambiguity in AILET comes. When we teach you critical reasoning, we tell you this question, which of the following is supported by the information given above? This is actually asking you which of the following is a conclusion. It is not a strengthened question. Generally, what do strengthened questions say? Which of the following, if true, would strengthen the claim of the author? Information given in the passage is going to act as a premise. Which of the following is a conclusion? But here, AILET, the way it has given the question and the options, we have to look at a strengthening argument. Did you get my point? Generally, the question here ought to be asking you about, you should be looking for a conclusion. This question generally is a conclusion question. It is not asking you to support the conclusion. It is saying which of the following is supported by the information. Your conclusion is supported by the premises. So it's actually asking you to find a conclusion. But looking at the answer options, you can see that the AILET question setter asked you to strengthen the option. The technique for manipulating audiences, described in the passage would also work in an audio program that played dramatic music. The audience should strive to be less gullible. He is saying media should not manipulate the audiences, and this is what he is saying. Images of a still river caused feelings of happiness in the audiences. The expression on the woman's face was in actuality a blank. It was expressionless. Which of the following is a conclusion you can draw is what the question is saying, but you have to at least look for a strengthening option. Nothing about audio is said. Nothing about expression being blank is said either, no? We don't know what picture was there. It just tells you picture of a girl and the same picture. Did it tell you what was the expression on the woman's face? No. So if you rejected A saying that we don't know if it will work in audio, you can't say this also. He is talking about media manipulating audiences by showing something before and after that. Then it is not about the audience. Therefore, it is supported by an extra premise. What is that extra premise? Images of a still river engendered feelings. This is the conclusion. That when they saw a still river, so this is not a strengthen. This is correct. The option is correct. It's not a strengthen question. It's a conclusion question. The passage said when they showed the picture of a girl, of the face of a girl, after showing the face of a still river, the audience thought that it was contentment. In the second case, the audience or the viewers thought it was fear. Which of the following is best supported? So he is correct. There is no mistake here. I'm sorry. Which of the following is best supported by the information above? So he is asking you, what can you conclude from the passage? Premises support conclusions. If a passage is supporting an option, that means the passage acts as the premise and you have to look for a conclusion. What conclusion? When the viewers looked at the still river, they felt happiness or contentment, and therefore they thought the girl was happy or content. Clear? Okay, good. Next question. So when you're asked what is an inference, what is a conclusion, based on what is given in the passage only you draw your conclusions. They are the easiest questions generally. You first read the options and then you restate the argument in your own words. No, Saloni, D is not correct. D is not correct because we do not know what was the expression on the woman's face. No information has been given to us about the information, about the expression on the woman's face. So how can you conclude that it was a blank? You've not been said which is, if true, strengthens the passage. He's not asking us to strengthen, he's asking us to draw a conclusion. Understood? Alright, the next set of questions is assumption. How do you draw an assumption? In an argument, you have a premise. In an argument, how do you draw an assumption? The assumption is the line of thought connecting the premise with the conclusion. Correct? Easy question. Today is Friday. I'll watch a movie. Today is Friday is the premise. I will watch a movie is the conclusion. What is your assumption? The line of thought that connected Friday to watching a movie. Every Friday I watch a movie. That's the assumption, which you haven't stated. So an assumption is an unstated premise. It is never stated, but it acts like a premise. You have to think. You have to step on the assumption to reach the conclusion. All right. Having said that, let me give you a variation of a very commonly asked assumption question. A group of cricket, and yes, the point which is there in the conclusion, it should join your premise and your conclusion, and if the conclusion has any new point or word, the assumption would take that into account. True. The best way I think of it is fill in the blanks. Connect the premise to the conclusion. All right. Okay. Read this and give me the answer to this question. A group of cricket analysts conducted a survey of cricketers from different teams, and they found that good batsmen, okay, good batsmen hoga ye, this is plural. I can't let wrong English go even in my questions. Good batsmen with a high strike rate were also good wicket keepers. So they did a survey. What did they find out? Good batsmen, high strike rate, also good wicket keepers. These are the results of the survey. When you have a survey and you have results of the survey, what part of the argument is it? A, B, C, premise or conclusion? When I give you results of a survey showed 40% of the boys like this, 30% of girls like this, when I give you facts like that, here they found out that batsmen with a high strike rate are also good wicket keepers. This statement is a premise, P, correct? It's giving us a fact. Batsmen, high strike rate, good wicket keepers. What is the conclusion? A batsman's ability to read a bowler made them good at wicket keeping. So the conclusion said good batsmen, also good wicket keepers, and they said batting skills converted them into good wicket keepers. Clear? So what is the assumption? How did they come from good batsmen, good wicket keepers to saying that good batting skills leads to good wicket keeping skills? In other words, right? How did they come to that conclusion? A good bowler cannot be a good wicket keeper. Is A correct or not? Saloni, question marks not allowed in answer. Okay, Sneh says A, somebody else had said A. Is A the answer or not? Why not A? Tell me why not A? Quickly. We'll go to B. Sneh is saying it's A. Sneh is very firm on A, but it is not A. Why not A? Bowlers, he hasn't talked about it. He's only said good batsmen make good wicket keepers. How can his assumption be on bowlers? Remember, assumption, do not take it as an founded guess statement. Assumptions is the basis of the conclusion. So he has not talked about the bowlers in the statement at all. So good bowler cannot be a wicketkeeper is out of scope of the paragraph. It cannot be an assumption. It doesn't lead you to the wicketkeepers at all. Batsmen make good wicketkeepers. Therefore, batting skills must be helping in wicket-keeping skills. That's what he is saying. Correct? Is it the second one? A good batsman with a high strike rate makes a better wicketkeeper than a good batsman with an average strike rate. Okay. A is eliminated. All of you said nothing has been said about bowlers. Alright, fine. A is out. B. I saw some answers for B. A good batsman with a high strike rate. He has mentioned a good batsman with a high strike rate were also good wicket keepers. A good batsman with a high strike rate makes a better wicket keeper than a good batsman with an average strike rate. Has he said anything about who makes a better wicket keeper? The higher the strike rate, the better the wicket keeping skills. Has he said that? He has just said a good batsman with a high strike rate. He has not said if it's higher, the better. So 2 is not the correct answer. He has not compared strike rates and ability of wicket keeping. He's just connected good batsmanship with high strike rate with wicket keeping. But he has not said that, when the strike rate is higher, the wicket keeping is better. When the strike rate is little lower, that means Rishabh Pant should be the best wicket keeper in the world. He's got some crazy strike rate. Maybe better than Dhoni's. Maybe better than so many others. But he has not said that. I mean, if that had been given in the argument, I would agree. But that hasn't been said. He's not comparing. This is a very common wrong answer. So be careful. What do? They compare. They say A causes B. And then they'll compare B with C. So this comparison, there is no comparison given. This is a very common wrong answer. No. Good specialist wicket keeper is a very general statement and extreme. Now, why is D the correct answer? A, B, C to nahi hai, then it's D, obviously. Why is D the correct answer? This is a classic assumption question. Let me just explain. See, in assumptions, either you connect your premise with your conclusion. When the question seems to be something like cause and effect, they'll say, okay, good batsmen make good wicket keepers. Then they are saying that this is the cause and this is the effect. If you are good at batting skills, that results in good wicket keeping skills. Just look at the statement. It could have been the other way around also, no? We only know batting and wicket keeping are going together. Good batting and wicket keeping skills are going together. So we are saying, oh, good batting skills helps a person to become a good wicket keeper. Why not the other way around? Could be the other way around also. No? Maybe a good wicket keeper always standing behind the stumps can see a bowler and read a bowler better. So it is possible A could cause B or B could cause A. If the conclusion says A causes B, then the assumption is B does not cause A. Understood? If the conclusion says A and B happen together, then he says, oh, A must be causing B. Then the assumption you have made is B does not cause A. You don't know what causes what. You just know A happens and B happens. But if you're saying this causes this, then the assumption for my conclusion A causes B to be true, it also has to be true that B does not cause A. Therefore, this is the assumption. D is correct. C is a general statement, not part of the passage at all. Cannot be the correct answer. Alright. So the answer is D. This is again a classic assumption question. Understand it. You can answer any question on assumptions. Let's now go to another very good question on assumptions asked in AILET 2019. Proposed new safety rules for seashore city port would lengthen considerably the minimum time between takeoffs from the port. So they are going to what is the question asking? it's asking an assumption. Okay, yeah, we said it's an assumption question, because always remember in in CR, in CR, please read the questions first. Let's take, no, don't look at anything out of your general knowledge and argue. You just look at the structure of the arguments. I will go through question 5 one more time because you're saying it's hard. It's a classic question. Okay, let me give you one of the GMAT questions that was asked, that people with where is my pen? Why doesn't it work when I want it to? People with, hold on, okay, they did a survey of people, and they found that people with mental illness showed low immunity. Okay, they did a test of mental illness. They wanted to see if there's a connection between mental illness, depression, any other kind of problem, and immunity, body's immunity. They found that people suffering from mental illness generally had low immunity. The immunity levels were lower than people with normal health, or so-called normal health. And the surveyors concluded that low immunity causes mental health issues. But when a person has low immunity, he develops mental health issues. So what is the assumption here? So the survey just found the connection. It found, okay, A suffers from mental illness, A also has low immunity. B, same thing. C, same thing. So after they found a lot of people, mental health issues and low immunity, they saw that connection, that people with low immunity and mental health issues also are suffering from low immunity. There's a coincidence. They're happening together. From there, they concluded that low immunity results or in mental illness. This is the conclusion. For this conclusion to be true, what is their assumption? They could have concluded it the other way around also. Why did they not do that? Okay, either mental immunity causes low immunity, mental illness lowers the immunity, or lower immunity causes mental illness. If they said low immunity causes mental illness, their assumption is that it is not the other way around. Therefore, it is D. It cannot be A. Nothing has been said about bowlers. All right. Okay, let's look at the next one. Proposed new safety rules for seashore city port would lengthen the minimum time between takeoffs from the port. They have some safety rules in the new city port, and he is saying if you implement these rules, then the time between takeoffs of ships from the port will become long. All right. Lengthen the time between the thing. In consequence, I have not even shown you options. Where did you say B, Aditya? The port would be able to accommodate 10% fewer vessels than currently use the port daily. Two facts have been given to you. One is time between takeoffs will increase. As a result, the port will have fewer vessels coming to it, 10% less. If every month they have, just I'm saying because 100 is an easy number. If they have 100 vessels, they will have 10% less, they'll have 90. So takeoff time increases, number of vessels will come down. The city's budget depends on taxes generated by tourists. So if you have these new rules, you will have fewer vessels coming to the port. Obviously, number of tourists will come down. That is, he is saying it will come and it will bring down the revenue. Understood? Understood? Ananya, we are not looking at skills. We are not looking at the reality of the situation in CR. Whatever has been given to you has to be taken as true. You should not Your logic should not go beyond the facts which have been given. What is the assumption in question 6? Before I have shown you the options, please don't answer. All right. Facts given to us are time between takeoffs will increase. I always have a problem with my time between takeoffs will increase. Hold on. Okay. Time between takeoffs will increase. Number of vessels will come down. Time between takeoffs will go up. Number of vessels will come down. So revenue from tourism will come down. If these have to be true, what is the assumption? That's what he is arguing. The response to the adoption of new safety rules would not include an increase in the number of passengers per ship. What does this mean? What does the option mean? That when they were thinking of adopting these new rules, they'll say, okay, the time will increase, the number of ships coming to the port will decrease. Taking that into account, the people have not, even if it comes down, they have not thought of increasing the number of passengers per ship. If they didn't, only then the budget will go down. If they did, then see, generally if you are adopting a rule saying, look, I want to adopt safety rules. Because of these safety rules, the number of ships that will come to the port will come down. What is the logical adoption they will do? They will increase the number of passengers per ship so that their revenue doesn't come down. So when adopting the rules, only if they don't take this into consideration will this happen. Therefore, this is the assumption made by the author to come to this conclusion. All of you understood how A is the answer? The conclusion is from the point of view of the argument. The argument says because of the new safety rules, the revenue will come down. Why? Because the number of people coming, the number of ships will come down. That means the argument is assuming that the ships are not going to take more passengers and make better revenue that way. Therefore, A is the answer. All of you clear? Good. If you understood the logic of the wicketkeeper batsman and this, you will not have a problem in any assumption questions, because most assumption questions are based on this logic only. Now, the next set of questions that you get are strengthening and weakening. Okay, I'll just explain it one more time. What is the argument? Anuj, you have to always remember the main points of the argument. Main point of the argument is because of the new safety laws, the number of ships will come down. Because their revenue depends on the number of people, because the number of ships will come down, the number of the revenue will also come down. If the revenue comes down, now he is asking what is the assumption here. One assumption is if the number of ships come down, the number of passengers will come down, and passengers bring revenue. Therefore, if they come down, then the revenue also will not come. We won't get enough revenue. For this conclusion to be true, he must have thought like this. They are not going to have passenger ships which can accommodate more passengers. Only it is just phrased negatively. Understood? It is just phrased negatively. If it includes the number of passengers per ship, if they said, I'll tell them, yeah, revenue kam ho jayega, revenue will come down if the number of ships come down, then the committee member will say, no, don't worry. We have already thought of that. We are having bigger ships which can accommodate more passengers, so the revenue won't come down. You understood? So for me to think that the revenue will come down, this has to be true, that this provision has not been made, therefore the revenue will come down. Clear? All right. Now, for strengthening and weakening questions, you generally have this in the question. In CLAT, unfortunately, they do not mention this if true. So I tell the students, if it's a strengthening question, you have to assume strengthening and weakening questions give extra information that is not given in the passage, which you have to assume is correct. In conclusions and assumptions, inference, conclusion and assumption, you cannot go beyond the scope of the passage. But in strengthening and weakening questions, you have to look at the options as giving an extra bit of information which will either support the conclusion, make it stronger, or weaken the conclusion, or is irrelevant if it's a wrong option. All right, so let's look at the question. People often take vitamin and protein supplements in addition to their regular diet for good health. Doctors, however, stress on well-balanced meals at regular intervals. So people take vitamin supplements. Doctors say there's no substitute for a balanced meal. Most doctors claim that well-balanced meals are a better source of vitamins than supplements found in bottles. Which one will strongly support the doctor's claim? Easy question. Most of you have already given me an answer. Which one? Something that supports natural food, balanced diet, something that goes against supplements, and that is option A. A balanced diet has vitamins that occur in their natural state in the fruits and vegetables and whatever you are eating. They are readily absorbed by the body, unlike ones that you take in bottles. All right? Okay. All right, next one. Several coaching centers have currently switched, at least partially, from study material written by hand on printer paper to study material written on a computer and sent electronically with no use of paper at all. Therefore, less printer paper will be used as a result of these changes than would have been if these coaching centers had continued to use only handwritten study materials. Clear? We have to either strengthen or weaken the options. So they have switched to, at least partially, to study material written by hand on printer paper to one which is sent electronically. Which one would strengthen the argument that less printer paper would be used? Less printer paper will be used by doing this. All right, so which option strengthens the conclusion that by doing this, earlier they were using printer paper to write. Here they're sending the explanations by computer electronically. Which one? The amount of printer paper needed to explain electronic study material is less than the amount that would have been used for handwritten material. Right? If this is true, then less printer paper is used because of okay. All right. Next question. See, they just changed the name. Hindustan becomes Hindustan, but it's okay. This is AILET 2019. Natural gas production units in Hindustan have recently been acquired in substantial numbers by investors from abroad. Hindustan politicians are proposing legislative action to stop such investment, justifying the proposal by arguing that foreign investors opportunistically exploit a recent fall in the value of the Hindustanian currency, were able to buy these assets at less than their true value. So just two facts given in this passage. One is that natural gas production units have been acquired in numbers by investors from abroad. Politicians want to stop investment of foreigners in this, saying that They bought it when there was a fall in the value of the currency, and so they were able to buy the assets at price much lower than the true value. Got it? So question could either be strengthen or weaken, which is why I didn't show you the question. The question is asking which of the following casts most serious doubt. That means which one is weakens the politician's argument. Which one goes against that? No, they did not cause a great loss to the country when they bought the assets. Which one would it be? In Bangania, a country broadly similar to Hindustan, the share of manufacturing assets that is foreign controlled is 60% higher than it's in Hindustan. Just because they are also fools doesn't make our argument any better. So this is irrelevant. Just because some other country has more foreign investors doesn't weaken our argument against foreign investors. Remember, something happens in another country too is not the correct is not the correct answer. So what if they have more foreign investors? Foreign investment is harming my country is the argument. How can it be A? How can it be A? The politicians are arguing that these foreign investors bought those, made that investment when the value of our currency was low. So they caused us, they bought it at a much lower value. So that's why we lost money. If you are saying, oh, in another country there are a lot more foreign investors, how will that weaken the argument? Here, the argument of this politician is that they exploited a recent fall in value of our currency and they bought assets at much less than their true value. So it cannot be B. The true value of an investment is determined by the value of profits from it, if this is correct, and the low value of the Hindustan currency has depressed the value of any profits earned by foreign investments, this will weaken. You are saying that don't let them invest in our country. They exploited us, they took advantage of us, they bought these shares, they made this investment when our currency was low. If you say that the actual value of an investment is in the profit, and because of the low value of the currency, the profit of the foreign investors is low, so they're not gaining anything, they're not opportunistic, that would go against it. Correct? They are saying that they bought a lot and they exploited us. They bought it when our currency was low, and somebody was saying that when they bought it when your currency is low, their profit is also low. So why would they buy it like that? So they didn't actually make a lot of money. So B is the one that weakens it. All right. All right. So there are a lot more para-based questions, but you have to look at strengthen, weaken. Remember, weaken only points out that you have to weaken the conclusion only. Don't try to weaken the premise. Premise can say whatever it wants. Identify the conclusion and look for an option which says your conclusion is wrong, or I can find flaws in your conclusion. Both strengthen and weaken are based on outside information, extra facts given to either strengthen or weaken. C is about the behavior of politicians. It has nothing to do with the logic of what they are saying. All right. Okay. Now, in every exam, not just AILET, in every other exam, lot of you have been asking me, will it help me in Jamia? Will it help me in this exam? These questions will help you in any exam. And last year, there were a lot of statement assumption questions in most other exams. So what is an assumption in a statement assumption question? Something that you can take for granted, information that is hidden in this statement, that is an assumption. I'll just explain a paradox quickly. Krish, I told you why not C, right? Yeah, okay. We will not tolerate indiscipline in the armed forces. This is the statement of the Secretary of the Department of Military Affairs. No, paradox is a contradiction, but paradox questions are different. Resolve the paradox questions. Yes. All right. What is the assumption? there has been indiscipline in the armed forces, or the secretary is uttering empty threats. Which one is an implicit assumption? We will not tolerate indiscipline in the armed forces. What is the assumption? Two rules about assumption. When there is a statement, the assumption is from the speaker's point of view. If I tell you, I will not explain any questions today, ma'am is in a bad mood, ma'am doesn't know the subject, that is your conclusion. My assumption, I will not answer your questions. My assumption is there are going to be questions. You're going to ask me questions. So if he says we will not tolerate indiscipline, either the assumption is there has been indiscipline and he's saying we won't tolerate it, or he is expecting indiscipline. Even that is correct. So answer for 10 is A. Excellent. Next question. This is these are the instructions given to you in most exams. Assumption is something supposed or taken for granted. You have to consider the statement and decide which of the assumptions is implicit, inherent, found in the statement itself. Many people are humble after gaining victory. What is this? General. What happened? The question did not. The question is missing here. All right. Question 11. Leave it. Question 11. The question was. No. Okay. Let's look at this question. The target of a fiscal deficit of 5% of GDP could not be met because of a major shortfall in revenue collection. You don't have to understand the definitions of the term. So first thing students ask, what is fiscal deficit? You can answer this question even without understanding fiscal deficit. You just read. They have a target of a deficit, a difference which should not be more than 5% of the GDP. But this target of 5% of GDP could not have been met, could not be met because of a major shortfall in revenue. That's what I told you, Twinkle. Without knowing the meaning, answer the question, then I'll explain it, okay? Which one is the answer? I will just send a message. Wait, 1 second. Yeah, go on. Which is the answer? Fiscal deficit, government's revenue, what it gets, what it spends. And government generally spends more than it gets. So that's called the deficit. When there is a gap between what you earn and amdani, athanni, kharcha, rupaya kind of a thing, that's the fiscal deficit. You spend more than what you have, then there's a deficit. Okay. So, but you don't have to understand that to answer this question. He just says the target of 5% deficit should not be met. What do you gain from there? That means the difference should not be more than 5% of the GDP. But that could not be met. Why? There was a shortfall in revenue collections. So based on that, what can you conclude? Shortfall in revenue collections lead to an increase because the fiscal deficit could not be met, right? So only assumption 1 is implicit. Excellent. All right, next one. Next one. The government has decided to run all commercial vehicles only on biofuels to save the depleting fossil fuel reserves. It said from now all commercial vehicles will run only on biofuels. This is the way we can save our fossil fuel reserves. So, when the government has taken this decision, what is the implicit assumption of the government? When you take a decision, the implicit assumption is based on the government's, yeah. It is not both. The answer is why. It is possible to do so, but the amount, no, both are not. I know there is a big controversy. Only one. It is decided to run them on biofuels only, means it's possible to run them on biofuels. It is possible to switch over. But whether there is sufficient or not, we don't know. Maybe it wants to run it for only 6 months. Maybe it wants to get it from somewhere else. Why would it say produce in the country? Or maybe it wants to run it only for some time. So production in the country is not implicit. Yes, CLAT 23, 24 all are there. Let's first concentrate on AILET 22. Alright. Okay. Alright. In a one-day cricket match, the total runs made by a team were 200. Out of this, 160 were made by the spinners. Those who know cricket will answer this in 2 seconds. Those who don't know cricket, better learn cricket. No, I'm just kidding. In the answer key, it's written as B. No, only A. Or that I go with my own answer key. Okay, if it is that, I'll say he is wrong. She is wrong. They are wrong. Yeah. Okay. We only know spinners made 160 out of 200. So the percentage of runs out of the total runs we know. The percentage of the run getters we don't know. And whether they were opening batsmen or night watchmen, we don't know. So neither, we've gone to conclusions now. Neither conclusion follows. What is the rule for conclusion? On the basis of what is given, mark it. The old order changes. What is why? Okay, Saurav, I don't know what you're typing. The old order changes, not changed. This is a statement. Statement by a great dramatist. Changes. Where is my pen tablet? Today it's giving me a little trouble. It gives me trouble every time. This is S, guys. Let me. Yeah, I thought I had corrected it. Okay. The old order changes. Let me not waste time. Change is the law of nature. Discard old ideas because they are old. Which one is a conclusion? Based on this, which of the statements is definitely true? I am not able to use my pen tablet. Doesn't matter. Change is the law of nature. Discard old ideas because they are old. Old order changes, yielding place to new means change is a law of life. It doesn't say discard old ideas. The world keeps changing. Excellent. So this is the standard of conclusion questions. Not at all difficult. One tricky one, I remember this because last year a lot of students had made mistakes on this question. I don't know why. The use of non-conventional sources of energy will eliminate the energy crisis in the world. This is one non-conventional energy source supporter statement. He says, if you use non-conventional sources of energy, this use will eliminate the crisis, the energy crisis in the world. From this, can you conclude modern technology is gradually replacing the conventional sources of energy, or the excessive exploitation of the environment has led to the depletion of conventional sources of energy? This should be an S here. Okay. There should be an. Okay, I should go here. This is what you know for a fact should not be used. Use only what is given to you. The excessive exploitation of environment has led to the depletion. We know this is true, but based on what has been said, we can't say this. He's not saying anything about What has led to the energy crisis? So the answer is neither. All right, what is your rule for strong and weak arguments? An argument is strong if it is relevant. Generally, in strong and weak arguments, a question is asked followed by two answers. Both can be yes, one is yes, one is no, or both can be no. You have to evaluate the arguments independent of one another. So 1 and 2 both can be strong. One is stronger than B. A is stronger than B. One is stronger than 2. Doesn't mean 2 is weak. Correct? So you had Sachin Tendulkar, Rahul Dravid, Saurav Ganguly, VVS Lakshman. We had so many great batsmen. Tendulkar was a great batsman. Didn't make Rahul Dravid a bad batsman. He was also a very good batsman. Just that Tendulkar was greater than him didn't make anybody less great. Same way, you look at an argument independent of the second one. Decide each one independently. On what rules is it relevant to the question asked? Has the argument given a good reason? When I say reason that he is giving should be sensible, logical, according to the common norms that are followed in society. Something silly, stupid, cannot be accepted kind of reasons, even if it is a reason, cannot be accepted. All right, okay. Should the government introduce a system of obtaining bonds from students for working in India before sanctioning education loans for higher studies? Students who go abroad, they have to pay a lot of money, so they have education loans for these students, and the question is asking, should the government introduce a system of obtaining bonds from these students? Oh, you want to work abroad? Well, you have to sign a bond. Okay? That you'll come back and serve in the country, that you'd return the money in this many years. I don't know what exactly the bond is. So should they take these bonds from the students? No, it's not a workable solution. It will obstruct the development of young talent in the country. Yes, this is the only way to ensure use of talent in our country for the development of the country and not of an individual. No, this step is too harsh. Which of the options is a strong argument? These are your choices. 1, 2, both, none. Look at your choices again. Not a workable solution. Only way to ensure that the talent is used for the development of our country. The step will be too harsh. What's the answer? Is the reason given sensible, logical, practical? Answer, only one is strong. How? Second one says, when people go abroad, you're making them sign a bond. When people go abroad, are they only developing themselves? They're developing the country in which they are teaching. Many people come back. Giving a bond is restricting their talent. All right? So only one. All right, and these are very subjective. So there is no, we can have an argument for hours on this. Should people with educational qualifications higher than, this should be S. This should be qualifications. Qualifications higher than the optimum requirements be debarred. Let me see if this works. No, this is also not working. Guys, are you enjoying the session so far? If you are, please press the like button. My pen tablet is giving me trouble today. It was, ouch. Oh. Okay. All right. Qualifications, not qualification. Should people with higher educational qualifications, higher than the optimum requirements, be debarred from seeking jobs? So if the job says BA, BCom, BSc only, the question is asking, should a person who's done an MA or an MCom be stopped from applying? No, it will aggravate the problem of educated unemployment. Yes, it creates insecurity among employees and affects the work adversely. No, this goes against the basic rights of the individuals. And yes, this will increase productivity. Now look at the numbers because your answers are which two are correct. Only one, only two, one, two, three, only three, or all arguments are strong. Only one. How does it go against your basic rights? If for a particular job I want only one particular qualification, that is my right to choose what I set as a standard. If I say you are overqualified, that is not going against your basic rights. Okay. When employment, when somebody is opening a job opportunity is there, and he decides what are the limits he wants to set. Okay. Those limits should not be based on class, color, creed, race, those kind of things, but not educational qualifications. He can set anything. All right. Should all youngsters below 21 be disallowed from going to a pub? Should you not allow children below 21 or youngsters below 21 from going to a pub? No, it's not correct to prevent mature youngsters. D is wrong. Above 18 years of age who can vote from having fun. Yes, the entry fee to such pubs should also be hiked. No, there is no such curb in Western countries. Yes, it will help in preventing youngsters from imbibing unhealthy habits. From I'm not trying to correct the AILET question setters, but just you don't imbibe unhealthy habits. I don't know. Okay. All right. Okay. Which ones? 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2, 2 and 3, those kind of combination. Now that you've seen the answer options, tell me. Only 1, 1 and 3, 3 and 4, 1 and 4. I'll go back to the options so that you know the numbers. 1, mature individuals who can vote should not be barred from drinking. 2, entry should also be hiked. 3, no, Western countries also don't have such curbs. 4, it will prevent youngsters from developing a bad habit. So 1 is strong, 4 is also strong, but that if you want that if at all 21 has to be the drinking age, it has to be cut down to 4. Okay. Okay. All right. Next question. Question 20. Analogy. Question 20. Analogies. What is the relation between the set of words? Choose the correct option. Fasten is to tie, snake is to climb, match is to meet, and obey is to define. Acha guys, quickly. You fasten a tie, coil is to loop just like you fasten a tie. Yeah. Yes, you can answer yes or no because you are evaluating the argument independently. So if you find the argument for yes strong, you say yes is strong, the no is strong, then no is strong. It's not your personal opinion, it's just evaluating the argument. All right, vehicle is to garage. As vehicle is kept in a garage, as a plane is kept in a hangar. Question 22. Grass is to lawn. A grass grows on a lawn, or grass makes up a lawn, just as flower is to garden, banana is to forest, flies is to insect, or horse is to field. Question 22. What's the answer? Quickly, 2 more answers and then we're done. Flower is to garden. All right, last question. Flock is to birds. Is a group of birds is called a flock, just as a group of cows or whatever is called a herd of cattle. All right. All right. I hope you enjoyed the session. Do also look at the other types of questions in AILET, such as paragraph based FIR, boldface, resolve the parallel logic, flaw in argument, structure of the argument, statement based, look at inference, cause and effect, course of action, reason and assertion. Follow us on all these channels. Look out for our other classes, our AILET analysis on Sunday. I will be there with Abhimanyu for the general analysis. I'll be also there for the English analysis. Join us. All the best. Do really, really well. All right. You just have to be calm. Think of all the learnings you have, all the things that your teachers have taught you, all the concepts. And in the exam, remember, you don't have too much time. Just keep answering the questions that you know. A paradox is a contradiction. The question will have a contradiction. The answer option will explain it to you. Not generally asked in AILET too much, so we didn't cover that question. All right. All the best, guys. Strategy for vocabulary, well, right now too late. Just answer past year questions. All right. Do the session that Alpa covered. She covered quite a few words in contextual vocabulary and all that. And do follow the lessons that your teachers taught you. I know they did a fantastic job, Alpa and Krishnendu. So watch their videos, watch their lessons, and I'm sure you'll be on the right track. All the best. Don't give too much time to anything. Okay, just keep verbal ability questions first and then reading comprehension. All right, guys, I'll see you again on Sunday. Until then, bye-bye. Maya.